Hello everyone, good morning. Today we're learning Mציעא Daf Nun Aleph. We're going to start Nun Amud Beis at the bottom of the page. Ad Mosai Mutalach. So we learned in the Mishnah until when someone got overpriced, how long do you have to return to ask for his money back? Aryeh latago lekroivoi. Omar Rav Nachman lo yishonu elo loikeach. If the seller overpriced the deal and sold it for expensive, then the loikeach only has ad kadesh yareh latago lekroivoi. Aval moicha, but the if he got underpriced, meaning if he sold the item for too cheap, lo ilam choiza, he has forever to come back to ask for his money back. And we're going to see, we said already this for early on, we're going to see soon again why. Let's bring a raya to this din of Rav Nachman. When it says Aryeh latago lekroivoi, it's only talking about the loikeach, but not the moicha. Because it says that after Rab Tarfon said that he extended the time kol hayomi, so the merchant people in Lud went back to divrei chachomim. So it says chazdu ledivrei chachomim iomat bishleima moicha lo ilam choiza. If the seller could always go back and say, I sold it for too cheap, I want my money back. That's why they went back to Divrei Rabbanon, because Rav Tarfon didn't gain them anything by making it longer, since the moicha anyway could always loilam choiz, and these tagorim were always moichrim, so they never gained from the longer time from b'chtei shar latago to a full day, because they anyway could be choiz loilam. Elo yomas moicha nami koloikeach domi. If you're going to tell me that moicha also has only b'chtei shar yar latago lekroivoi, my nafke lo mina. What do they care that Rav Tarfon extended the time? Like Rabbanon, meaning Rav Tarfon extended the time for the loikeach to have a full day instead of b'chtei shar latago. So in that extra time they also gain, because they are selling. If they sell under price, so they have now a full day to get the money back. Not only b'chtei shar latago, so they should be happy. Very good at the loikeach, they lose out, but when they sell for too cheap, they gain. Elomai, we could see that the moicha for loilam choiza, and therefore they never gained from the takana of Rab Tarfon that extended the time. So the Gemara no. Tagore Lud lo ishchiach the told. Tagore Lud, they knew the prices very well, and it was very uncommon that they sold for underprice. Therefore, really it could be that the moicha also has only kadesh shar latago, and therefore Rab Tarfon extended the time also for the moicha. The should be beneficiary for them as well. No, it's not beneficiary for them, because they never sell it under price, so they don't gain anything from that, and they just lose out that the loikeach could come back with tinus for a longer time, and that's why they went back to divrei chachomim. So the Gemara story, the landlord, the Rami Bar Choma, of the Rami Bar Choma, Zobin Chamra, he sold wine, he sold it for too cheap. Ashkeche. So Rami Bar Choma saw him, that he's sad. Why are you sad? I sold wine, I sold it for too cheap. What's the problem? So go back and ask for your money back, or cancel the sale. So the landlord said, I waited too long, so it's too late now. Shadrlik made Rav Nachman to Ron Bar Choma send him to Rav Nachman to ask him what to do. Rav Nachman told him, like we just learned before, when did we say this time of b'chtei shar latago lekroivoi elo loikeach? Only the buyer, aval moicha, the seller, lo'olam choiza, could always ask for his money back, and therefore, since you are a seller, even though that the time of b'chtei shar yar latago lekroivoi passed, you could get your money back. My timing, what's the difference? Why there's a difference between the seller and the buyer? Loikeach mikroi biyodoi. he bought the item, he has the item in his hand. He bought the item, he has it in his hand, he could go to his relative or to another shopkeeper and ask him, I paid for this sum of money, is this a good value or bad value? And straight away they could tell him because they could see the item. But Moicha, who sold the item, the loinokat mikribiyote, he doesn't have the item in his hand because he sold it already. Adam Isramelei zvintik is vintik. He has to find another item like what he sold. Only then only then he'll know if he paid too little or too much, and therefore we give him much longer lo'olam to be choizer from his mistake. Au Gavra, this man, Davenokit verchashil is bune. He was holding this silk type of cloth or strings of silk, Lizbun, and he was trying to sell it. Kori, he was announcing Shita. I'm selling this for 6. Beshavia, but the real value was Chamisha, the value was 5. He was trying to sell it for 1 extra. Now, it was clear that if you give him 5.5, Avashokil you would accept. Also, Gavra came, this man who thought he was a clever man. Omar, he said, if I give him 5.5, that means half too much from the value of 5, so it's less than a shtus. And I won't get my money back. I'll give him the full 6 that he's asking for. That's 1 extra. And I'll take him to Bezdin that it's oino and I can get back my money. If I give him 5.5, I won't get back anything. I'll give him 6 and then I'll get 1 back and I'll pay only 5. Also, if this case came in front of Rabba, when did we say that oino you could get your money back? When you buy from a merchant. If he's buying it from a private person, there's no dino. And the reason is because Rashi explains, I'm going to see in the Gemara a bit later, that's also be explained, that when you're buying from a private person, he doesn't normally sell his item. If he's willing to sell an item that he owns, it's only because he's going to get overpriced for it. So when you buy from a private person something, you know that he's probably overpricing it, and therefore there's no ino. Mashenki, but my shopkeeper is doing business. So therefore, he'll sell on the normal price. And therefore, this guy never got back his coin, his 1, that he overpaid. However, a similar case, this man, Davenokit Kipi, he had nose rings, Lizvuni, to sell his nose rings. Korishtin, he was announcing that he wants to sell it for 60. Vishovi Chamshin, and it was worth only 50. If someone would pay him 55, Avashokil, he would accept it. Also, Gavra came, this guy who thought he was clever, but Omar, he said, if I give him 55, 5 extra over 50, it's less than a shtus. I can't get back my money. I'll give him 60. And that's so you know, it's a shtus, if you shmuel, and if you Rav, it's even more. And I'll take him to dinner, I'll get back the 10. Also, this case came in front of Rav Chisda. This was only said that the dinner of oino when you buy from a merchant. There's no dinner like we said before. Correct, this is correct what you're saying. This is correct what you're saying. Correct, the Gemara we learned in the Mishnah, the next Mishnah that we're going to learn in a minute, like the oino to a normal person, there's also oino to a tago. Man ediot, who's a hediot? La balabais, they're not talking about a person, a simple person. And we are saying that there's no oino to a balabais. So the Gemara of Chisda, the Mishnah over there is talking about betzad raisa, when the simple person is selling hemp clothes, and therefore he does have the business, and therefore when he does have the business, for sure there's a no aval moni tashmishte, but something that he actually uses his own items, like these nose rings, the akiriole, that he has special connection to him, he likes them, he wants them. He won't sell them if not for over the price of the value. And therefore, when you buy from someone who you know he's selling a higher price, there's no dinner, like we're going to see soon on Amud Beis. Says a Mishnah, Oino goes both ways. It doesn't matter if it was sold it for too expensive and it's oino to the loikeach, to the buyer. It doesn't matter if he sold it for too cheap and it's oino to the seller. Kishem sheino lehet, like the oino to a simple person. Kach oino lataga, also for a merchant, someone who deals with business, someone who has a shop, also the din oino. Rabbi Yehuda oime ein oino latago. Rabbi Yehuda says there's no oino latago. We're going to see in the Gemara two pshatim doesn't mean that no oino at all, because he knows the value and he obviously sold at the wrong price because he needed the money right now. Or it means in an olatago that even less than a 6 it's considered oino. Misha utalolov, the one who got cheated, yodoy alel yoino. He has an upper hand. Rotzo oimo telimoisai. You could say, I want back my full amount of money that I paid for. Oi, tenli. Or you say, no, I want to keep the sale, but I want you to pay me back, or you cheated me the amount that you underpaid. How do we know that they know both ways? If you sell something to your friend, you shouldn't oversell it, overprice it. The pashas of the pasuk is talking about where he sold something for too expensive. If the moicha was persuaded to sell something cheap, how do you know that's considered oino? Talmud loima oikono al toinu. The extra pasuk that tells oikono and it says al toinu to tell you that oino works both ways. And the Torah needed to tell you that there's oino by a buyer and there's oino by a seller, and you couldn't learn one from each other. If the Torah would only tell you about the seller, you'd think mishum dikimle bezvinte, because the seller had this item by him. It could be he was sitting by him for a long time, and he knows the value of it. So if he's overpricing it, that's wrong, and therefore you can't do that. The one who's buying it, he doesn't really know the value. It's the first time he's seeing this item. Maybe on him it's not forbidden because he doesn't really know the value, so he could try negotiating a lower price. Maybe it's allowed for him. Because if the Torah would only tell you that loikeach is not allowed to do or not to buy it for too cheap, you'd say mishum de kokoni, because he's buying an item. The Amri Inshi, people say zovant konito. When you buy something, it's like you gained, because you had money, and money is very easy to lose. You could buy a beer, you could buy a shawarma, it's easy, it goes. So if you buy an item that lasts, you gained, because now this item won't go so easily. So therefore, you should pay the full price for it. That he's losing by selling, the Amri Inchi, that people say Zovin. If someone sells something, Oivid, he's losing because now he has money, and money is much easier to lose than an actual item. Maybe the Torah doesn't tell him that he's not allowed to be doing on, and he's allowed to overprice the item that he's selling because he's losing by selling. That's why the Torah has to tell you that there's a no also by loikeach and also by a moicha. Rabbi Yehuda oima ein oino latago. Says the Gemara, mishum shu tago, because he's a merchant, ein lo oino, there's no oino for him. Omar Rav Nachman, Omar Rav, betago safso shanu. He's talking about a guy who buys and sells straight away. My time, and what's the reason? He knows the value of this item. He just bought it from someone else a minute ago. And why is he selling it for cheap? He sold it for cheap because he was moichel on that difference. And the reason why he's selling it for cheap, he got a different deal, a better deal where he can make more money and he doesn't have cash. And he says, you know what, I'll sell this for cheap and I'll buy this other item that I can make more money on it, and it's okay. Now that he has his cash back, but he wants his money back, he wants to gain from all ways. Therefore, you knew it was worth more and he sold it for cheap. It's your fault because you buy and sell all the time. You know the full value. You bought it a minute ago. You know the value of it. And that's why a tago, such a type of tago, buys and sells straight away. There's no oino. Rav Ashi Omar, my ein latagoino, eino beturasoino. The opposite. Shafilu poches michteino choize. We said less than a sixth. It's mechila. No, a tago, if he's sold for too cheap, even less than a sixth, it's considered oino. That one means ein latagoino. Because, and the reason is, because this is his business, Rashi explains, if he sells too cheap and the sale is going to go through, he's going to lose his business. He won't make money. So we have extra rachmanos on him, and we say that even less than he could get his money back. So two pshatim in review, the one means ein latago, and they contradict each other. One says ein latago, that if he sells too cheap, it stands. And one says that if he sells too cheap, even if it's less than a shtus, it doesn't stand. So it's two opposite pshatim in Rav Yehuda. Tanya Kavosei, the Rav Nachman, that means that if he sells for too cheap, he lost it and he knew the price and he sold it for cheap because he needed the money. Because it says, because he knows. And if it would be the other reason, because this is his business and you need Kedei Chayav, it would say Kedei Chayav, because it says Shulboki, because he knows the price. We could see the reason that he's not by Parshas or no, and if he sells it for too cheap, he can't get his money back. So we said in the Mishnah, the one who got cheated, the loikeach who got cheated with oino, he could decide if to cancel the deal or to get his money back. So let's go back a second to Nunamud Beis and in the Bryce over there, so we understand it more better. Nunamud Beis, about 10-12 lines up, Tanya Kavosei de Rova, Uno pochus mishtus nikne mekach, yes, el shtus poten mekach, shtus kono machzu uno, dear Rav Nosson. So Rav Nosson holds that when oino, the deal stays, but he gets back his money that he was nisane. And Rabbi Yehuda Anossi oime yad moichal el yoino. The seller has the upper hand. He could decide to cancel the deal or to get back what he was cheated. Now in our Mishnah it says, the one who got cheated, he has the upper hand. Who is our Mishnah? Lo Rab Nosson. So Rab Nosson, but Rab Yehuda Anossi. Why? Rab Nosson masnissin ktoni rotzo. The Mishnah says that when I know it happens, he could choose to cancel the whole deal, or he could choose to get back his money. Ubraisa. Like Tony Rotz, and the Brycer of Nosson says that he could only get back his money, he can't cancel the whole deal. Irab Yehuda Anossi in Masising Tony Loikeach, the Mishnah says that the Loikeach who got cheated could choose what he wants. Brycer and Rabbi Yehuda Anossi, it says Ktoni Moicha, it says clearly over there that the Moicha, the one when he gets cheated, he could choose. The Mishnah and the Brycer don't go not like Rav Nosson and not like Rabbi Yehuda Anossi. Who is our Mishnah? Says the Gemara in the bracket Siman Zov Rosh. And that's Rosh Tevis for the next 4 Amoraim who explain this, who talk about it. Omar Rabbi Lozo, Oino Zu, this Mishnah of Oino, Ein Yodea Mishono. I don't know who it is because it's not Rab Nosson or Rav Yehuda. He didn't have a teretz. Rabbi Omar, Lo'ilom Rab Nosson. It's Rab Nosson. V'toni Nami beBraisa Rotzo. And in the Braisa we are goyres in Rab Nosson, not Kono Machzor, no Rotzo. Kono Machzor nor Rotzo, he cancels the wholesale. And then Rab Nosson fits in like our Mishnah. Rava Maloilom Rabbi Yehuda Anossi. It's Rabbi Yehuda Anossi. My Deshir b'Masnisin, who I left in the Mishnah, in the Mishnah it said about the Moicha about the Loikeach who got cheated, and it said that he could choose. Komefarish b'Braisa, explained in the Braisa what was left in the Mishnah, because the Mishnah didn't speak about the Moicha. So therefore Rabbi Yehuda Anossi in the Braisa added on and spoke about the Moicha to know that din applies not only to the Loikeach, it applies also to the Moicha. If the Moicha got cheated, he could choose what he wants to do. Omar Avashi, they Kenami, I have a duke like Rabbi Iktoni, because it says in our Mishnah, like Rava. Iktoni in our Mishnah, Echod Loikeach, Echod Moicha, it says that the Ino goes both ways, also for the seller and also for the buyer. Mefarish Loikeach. But then what do they explain? They only explain the buyer. Where's the seller? Shmamino, we could see from here, Shiur Shair, Lemoicha. Shmamino, that the Mishnah was talking about also a buyer. also the seller, and it just left out, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda and the Nossi in the Brisa added on and spoke about the Moicha, but really Rabbi Yehuda and Nossi doesn't mean to say specifically the seller, and the Brisa and our Mishnah doesn't mean to be specifically the buyer. It means both. The one who was cheated could choose to cancel the sale or to get back the money that he was cheated. Itma. We learned. Reuben comes to Shimon and tells him, I'm going to sell you this item, this watch, let's say, but you don't have a taina of oino against me. Ravo, you can't cancel something at night in against the Torah, you can't do that. No, it works. This the Tanya we learned in the Brisa, a man comes to a woman and tells her, I want you to be my wife. And I want you to be my wife, but I don't have any obligation towards you, not about food, not about ksus, not about clothes, and not about tashmish relationship. You don't have any tightness. Normally a man has to give his wife those three things. But he says, I'm marrying you, but I don't have to give you those three things. Aryeh mekudeshes v'tnoi botel divrei Aryeh. Aryeh hold, you try to cancel. The Torah says a man is mechuyev to give his wife those three things: food, clothes, and tashmish. And you're trying to cancel it. You can't cancel it, so she's mekudeshes, but the tnai is botel. Rabbi Yehuda in the part that's to do with momonistic thing, the clothes and the food, that's a momonistic thing. No, he doesn't really have to give her not food and not clothes, but tashmish he has to give her because that's not momonistic thing, and now you can't make it tnai. So l'chayra, Ravu says that the tnai of Amenashe no doesn't work, holds like Rameh. And Shmuel said that does work, the Dava Shema Mom, and like over here, it's Oino Dava Shema Mom, and he holds like Rav Yehuda that the tnai does work. Omar Lechora, Rav would tell you, I know the Amri Afilu Rav Yehuda, I could fit in even if Rav Yehuda says over there that the tnai is kaim. Over here, Rav Yehuda will agree to me that the tnai doesn't work. Ad Kaloi Koma Rav Yehuda, when did Rav Yehuda talk? Awesome over there. Elodiyod of Ekomochlo. The man came to the woman and told her clearly, woman, I'm not going to supply you food, I'm not going to supply you clothes, I'm not going to give you tashmish. And she said, okay. So therefore, he doesn't have to give her the things that a momonistic thing, the food and the clothes. And therefore, the tnai is kaim. But over here, said the Gemara in Aleph on base, did he know that he's paying overpriced? He didn't know. He didn't say this is overpriced. He said, I'm selling you this, but you can't have no kindness against me. He didn't know if he's paying overpriced. If you know, he wouldn't buy it. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda will be moida that the tnai doesn't work. Shmuel is going to tell you, I know the Amri Afilu I could also fit in a Rameh who says the tnai is not chal. By me, he will agree with you know that the tnai is chal. Ad Kaloi Koma Rameh, also Rameh only spoke over there, like the Vadai Ko'aka. Over there, he's telling the woman, I'm not going to supply you these three. I'm telling you, I'm not keeping what the Torah obligates me. So therefore, you can't go against the Torah and make such a tnai. When this guy is selling an item and we don't know if there's a no on it or not, who said that he's selling it for too expensive? Maybe it will be the right price and there's no. Anyway, so therefore he's not for sure Ikadov and Torah, and therefore the tnai could be Kayim. Omar Ravanon says, Mashmul explained me his din, who he said that you can make such tnai, he explained me. If he says to his friend, I'm selling you this item and you don't have no claims against me, it works. And the tnai is kaim, and even if he overpriced it, he can't come with any tightness. But if he comes and he tells the guy, I'm selling you this, that this item is not overpriced, and really after he sells it to him, we find out that it was overpriced. The item has he was lying. He said that this item is not overpriced. It is overpriced. So in that case, Shmuel never said that he can't come and ask for his money back. For sure, he could come back for his money because he was lying. I have a cash on Rav. We wanted to say that Rav could fit in with everyone. Have a kasha. Anoisin ba'anoisin be'amona. So amona means Reuven comes to Shimon and tells Shimon, listen, you go and sell me these items. You have a shop, Shimon, and I have all these lighters. Please sell them to me in the shop, for me in the shop, one by one. And when you get all the money, I'll get that, and I'll pay you for your work you've done. So that's anoisin v'anoisin b'amona. So Reuven came to Shimon and gave him items and said, I'll pay you for whatever price you get for it, I'll accept, and I'll pay you for your work. And someone tells his friend, he says that I'm selling you this item and you can't claim against me. No, in both cases, in the first case of Amona, if Shimon sold it for expensive, you can't keep the extra money and say, Reuven, I'm only giving you the value. Or if you sold it for too cheap, Reuven can't tell Shimon, oh, you sold it for too cheap. They had the agreement, trust, and therefore, whatever price he sold it, all goes to Reuven, and Reuven has to pay Shimon what they agreed on for his work. And in the second case, that's Noigea Le'inyanenu, Al Menashe Ein Lo Lovoino, it says clearly in the Brisa that Ein Lo Lovoino. Something more Rav the Omano the Amri Afilu Rabbi Yehuda. Rav who said to try to fit in Lefi Kula Alma Ben Rameh Ben Rabbi Yehuda Afilu Rabbi Yehuda Homoni. Who does this price go like? Bishlei Meif Rav would say going only like Rameh. He'd say this price is Rabbi Yehuda, but he said he fits in Lefi everyone. So who is this price who says not like Rav? Omar Abaye Mechavar to the truth is Rav Omar Rameh. Yeah, Rav only fits in like Rameh, not like Rabbi Yehuda. And this price over here is Rabbi Yehuda. The Shmuel the Omar Rabbi Yehuda, and Shmuel only fits in like Rabbi Yehuda. And the Ritva asks on this part, of this extra part, that Shmuel the Omar Rabbi Yehuda, Shmuel could fit in with everyone. Because Shmuel could say that this price is lefi kula alma. It's shver. Why the Gemara put Shmuel only lefi one shitta? Rav, we understand that has to go only lefi one shitta, but why does Shmuel have to go only lefi one shitta? Ein beritva. Rav Omar loy kasha, a different teretz. Really, Rav could fit in lefi kula alma, bein lefi Rameh, bein lefi Rabbi Yehuda. Kan bestam, kan b'mefarish. There's a difference between when I sell an item and I don't say that I'm overpricing it, and I say, I'm selling you this, I'm menashe ein lecha no. That case, Rav holds, if the price is too high, there is a no, that night doesn't work. But b'mefurish, it means I told him clearly, this item is worth £10, I'm selling it for you for 20, and I don't want you to complain. So the guy clearly knows in such a case, he can't come back with any tiness, because he knows he's overpaying, and he was willing for the deal. Tanya, and therefore on this price where it says, it's somewhere we told him clearly that he's over charging for it. The Tanya, like we learned in the Brisa, when did we say that they know bestam? When he made that nice stam. Aber b'mefarish, what's the case? A seller told the buyer, this item that I'm selling to you, I'm selling it to you, I want 200 for it. Boy, I know it's worth only 100. And I'm selling it to you for 200. And you can't come back to me and complain I overcharged you. The dinner is he can't come back and complain because he knows he paid too much. In the opposite case, he told the seller, I want to buy this item off you, the money, I want to pay you only 100. I know it's worth 200, but I'm only willing to pay 100. Do you want to sell it to me? And but you can't come back and say that you sold it for too cheap. The din is, you can't come back with any complaints, because when the sale happened, means that he got cheated, he didn't know the price, and he paid too much, or he got too little. But when he knows clearly that he's paying too much and he's willing for that, there's no din over there. Learned, so let's explain this outside a second a bit. It's a bit complicated. So this Brisa says, Reuven who gives Shimon, like we learned at the top of the page, he gives them these lighters, or let's talk about, he gives him a bottle of wine, and he tells him, sell this barrel of wine, slowly in the shop, and then I'll pay you, give me all the money that you sold, and I'll pay you for your work. That's anoisim be'amona. like we said before. And then there's another thing, you sell someone an item, you tell him, here, this is worth 100, take it for 100, pay me now, and sell it, and you can make money on it. So here we're talking about a case where someone has 2 barrels of wine, for example. 1 barrel of wine is top-notch wine that's very easy to sell. And Shimon's very happy to buy it for the value of the market and to sell it for higher a little bit, slowly by slowly, and make money, or sell it at one go and sell it quickly because it's lots of buyers are interested in it. That's one item that Reuven wants to give Shimon, and Reuven wants to give Shimon also a bad barrel of wine, that the only way to sell it is slowly, slowly. So this Brisa discusses Reuven, who comes to Shimon and tells him, take both of these barrels. Really, for one of the barrels, you have to pay me fully now. And the other barrel, you pay me at the end, however much you sold it for. And then I have to pay you for your job. I'll tell you what I'll do to you, says Reuven to Shimon. Take them both, pay me for both at the end when you sold the bad one, in a week, a month from now, and then pay me for both. And I'm not going to pay you for selling the bad one slowly, like I normally pay. You know why? Because I'm giving you to pay me for the good one also in a month's time. So you're gaining, that's your benefit from selling it, the one slowly, the bad one. The benefit is that you got the good one and you're paying me later. So that's a type of ribis, and the Brisa says it's forbidden to do it. That's pshat of Rashi in the figure. You can't say, oh, the bad wine, or whatever the item is ba'amona, is with trust. V'esayofa b'shove for its value, and pay me later, and that will be the payment for selling the ra. Or both of them you sell for however much you sell, and I get all the money and I'll pay you for your work. Or both for agreed price that we agree on now. In a case where he does the ba'amona, he has to pay him schar kotef for the schlepper, the guy who had to help him carry it, schar gamol, the payment for the camel to carry the items, schar pundak, and the payment for the hotel or the hostel that he stayed for at the market where he was selling. Continue the Brisa, schar atzmo einu noitel. He doesn't pay him for his work. Shekvar noitel schar mishalem, because he pays him for that already. Straight away ask the Gemara, schar mishalem meicha kuyoiv. We never said any payment that he gets. What payment are we talking about? Meicha kuyoiv late. Says the Gemara, Amar Pope bits deruye. We're talking about hemp clothes that was very common. Diave arba lemel, that the common agreement was that for every 100 you sell, I'll give you 4. And therefore, that's the payment that he gets for doing the work. But for schlepping the 100 to the market, he gets paid. For the camel, he gets paid. For the hostel, he gets paid. But for the sale, he doesn't get paid, because his payment is a 4 hemp clothes for each 100 hemp clothes he sells. Shkoyach, good moyed.